Welcome to Dogs of War Gaming Channel. Today we're going to do a review on the new 5th edition D&D books. A lot of premier stores got it available this week, and we got our hands on some, and we're going to give some reviews. Today we have here Pat. He is one of our resident DMs, and I'll have Pat give you a description.
Yeah, I've been role-playing for about 20 years. I like to round. I've done all kinds of systems: Shadowrun, D&D, Pathfinder, Vampire the Masquerade. So,
yeah, the veteran in the industry. You know, I've been also DMing for 30 plus years. Didn't play Pathfinder, but it's kind of 3.5. 4th edition I dabbled a little bit, but any other system, I'm a very, very big fan of Savage Worlds.
Savage Worlds, that's a good system.
And I love Vampire the Masquerade and all that stuff. So let's delve right into it.
All right. We have the 5th edition D&D Player's Handbook. On the whole, it's a nice hardcover back. Price tag is $49.95.
A little higher than normal.
A little high, yeah. But it says everything a player needs to create heroic characters for the world's greatest role-playing game. Bold statement, but
they at least were the big kids in the block.
This edition is good. I think that this is going to bring back a lot of people to D&D. I really do.
That's a big bold statement.
I really
4th edition shied away a lot of people.
Yeah, it did. But on the book itself, it's a little hard to navigate. You would hope that the chapters were broken up a little bit, or you know which chapter you're in a little
on
bit
the
better,
sides,
on the sides or something.
Yeah, you're right.
You
can easily thumb through it.
I mean, it's not bad. They do have an index, so that's a plus. Aside from older D&D books that didn't have an index. The cover art, which the art in general is fantastic.
Yes. A lot of new art, which is very, very good. They didn't recycle none of the old art from like 2nd edition.
Right. I mean, there was a couple pieces that I've seen that were not many. A lot of new art, and even the cover art itself, it's good. I mean, the steampunk feel of 3.5. With like the little hammer on it. It was nice, but they brought back
the fantasy.
So we'll just start right in. If you don't know about role-playing games, I don't know what to tell you.
That should be another video for that one. So
right.
I'm assuming if you're watching this video, it's because maybe you're interested in role-playing games. Role-playing games, basically you sit a group of people. You have a GM, a dungeon master, or game master. And they give you a story, and you act a character in that story,
and you react to what the DM says.
Exactly. The DM will say, there's a room with the door. Do you want to open it? And your party decides, and so it's very interactive. And to resolve stuff, you use dice, and so that's a brief description of role playing.
And that it tells you that in the little preface there, as for every role playing game that I've seen before. But I'm going to make references to 3.5 and 4th edition a lot, and what I'm referring to is Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 and Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition. It looks like this one is a mixture of the two, where it has the majority of it is taken from 3.5, but it's not like a reskin, like a lot of people would think, like Pathfinder. This is a completely separate game. There will not be a way to mix the two because of just some of the things that they've introduced with this. Something that I'd like that they've brought back, if you would turn to page 17.
17, okay.
Is the races. They brought back sub-races, where in 3.5 you would pick dwarf or elf or halfling or whatever. Now you can actually choose mountain dwarf, hill dwarf. And they actually have different. You can still be I don't want to say a stock dwarf, but you can choose hill dwarf, and it would have different bonuses. Your wisdom score is increased, or you're always proficient with heavy armor, or elves have their this particular elf, which yes, they do have stats for drow. This particular elf has a bonus to intelligence, where where the drow has dark vision and the other elves don't. I like that.
And I noticed also that most of the times when the subclasses are just a movement of their abilities, so they'll get a plus or a minus somewhere else. In addition to that, you're getting like dwarven toughness or armor training. So
it's very different.
Yeah, very different.
And the sub races before in 3.5 were actually a level adjustment.
True.
And these they're not. It's just this particular type of dwarf.
If you want to play a flavor character, you could just jump without knowing that you're going to be penalized.
I know.
Level every other turn, like compared to another race. So.
I was curious because Dungeons & Dragons always put out a main campaign. And I was curious as to what this one is. At first I thought it was Forgotten Realms, and then I thought it was Greyhawk, and I wasn't really sure. But I think I've narrowed it down to Forgotten Realms again.
Forgotten Realms?
Because of Under the Humans, they have examples of human names, and all of the regions that they have here are from Forgotten Realms.
Oh.
Like Rashomon, Chondathan.
I wasn't a big fan of 4th edition's Eberron. I never been a fan of that setting.
Eberron is different. It's more steampunk.
Forgotten Realms is my favorite. So
yeah, a couple races that actually made it back from 4th edition. Dragonborn.
Ooh.
The Dragonborn and the Tiefling are both
back again.
Both back again for 5th. And then of course the occasion was a half orc, half elf. For classes, something that they have. Every class that they have from 3.5, as well as the Warlock.
Ooh.
Which is... The Warlock is I want to say a hybrid fighter, caster. He's
a caster with proficiency in light armor.
Yeah, he does have light armor. Like the Warlock from 3.5 did that came in the complete arcane. So he has light armor, but he does have spellcasting capabilities, and he still has invocations, which modify his spells.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
With like 3.5, isn't this a lot of more choices than in 3.5?
No, this
is about the same, you think?
The exact same, except for Warlock.
No, but like in the basic book.
Right, in the basic book, they had all these classes. Wow. Barbarian, bard, cleric, druid, fighter, monk, paladin, ranger, rogue, sorcerer, and wizard. They did upgrade the sorcerer and wizard to a D6 instead of a D4.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. I hated the D4. I was
true.
And they also added the subtle differences between the classes, like a sorcerer and a wizard. Some people are like, oh, I'll never play a sorcerer because it limits you on spells. Some people are like, oh, I'll never play a wizard because I like the versatility of all the magic. And the differences between sorcerer and wizard are so
they went very minimal?
I'll get to the sorcerer and wizard in a minute. Barbarian, start off with Barbarian. The good news is, for the Barbarian, there are no dead levels. Dead levels where there's, you don't get anything except a bonus to base attack bonus and maybe a bonus to saves. But for the Barbarian, there is some sort of class feature that you get every level, which I like. And I got excited that I thought it was going to be like that for everyone, but no, sadly.
No.
But something that you might notice, right, number of rages per day as usual. The rage damage, if you see, actually increases as you gain levels. You gain a bonus to damage while you're in a rage, as well as your stat improvement. The proficiency bonus, which is one of the major changes. The three major changes for 5th edition is proficiency bonus, advantage and disadvantage, and the spells. There's no more base attack bonus, like from 3.5.
Oh, wow.
They did away with that completely. Now it's called proficiency bonus, where it occasionally it levels, and it looks to be... I did some comparison. It looks like everyone gets the same boost at the same level for proficiency. Proficiency takes into account a few things. Like if you flip back to the Barbarian is proficient in strength and constitution, couple different skills like athletics, couple different equipment like martial, like a great axe or something. Now you ask what the proficiency is.
Let me guess. If you're using anything that he's proficient with, you get that bonus for.
There you go.
So if he's making a saving throw that uses Constitution, he gets a bonus.
There you go.
I like it.
In layman's terms, that keeps the numbers down. For in 3.5, what was the fighter's base attack bonus at level 11? It's like a plus, like it's like 3 different attacks, like plus 11, plus 6, and plus 3 or something like that. Now, the fighter's attack bonus is 4. That's it.
And it promotes the character to be proficient in new items. That way he could apply that bonus to. Because before you could just, I get a plus 10. I picked this toothpick. I'm plus 10 with it, and I'm gonna kill you with it.
I'm just gonna muscle my way through the encounter. Now it makes you go back to the class features.
Yeah.
What really makes a barbarian versus a fighter. And yeah, some people are like, oh well, it's the rages. Now all of these other things, like relentless rage, persistent rage, brutal critical. It's things that are built into the barbarian to actually make it feel like a barbarian. Something else that's new about the class is they have paths. If you flip back here at level 3, usually they have a path to choose from.
Okay.
They have a path of the berserker and path of the totem warrior. That means you get certain buffs. That you want to be a berserker, well, you pick the path of berserker at level 3, and then you get this particular. You get frenzy and mindless rage. You become more of a berserker. Now, are there more paths? Sadly, there's about 2 per class, but that's what supplements are for.
Yeah, we all know that when it comes to role-playing games, there will be a lot of supplements.
So if you're not satisfied with the particular paths, well, sorry. You have to, at level 3, you're going to have to pick one because otherwise...
But 2 gives you good
I know.
change.
Yeah, it's so
you got a bard.
You're right, the bard. And I looked at the bard. The bard's spells are the same as the wizard's. The bard had in 3.5, the bard had a slow spells progression.
Yep.
The bard didn't get 2nd level spells until 4th level, like a sorcerer did. Now, 3rd level, like everybody else.
Wow.
Same with the sorcerer.
So what makes him different?
The bard, well, he's got access to healing,
Okay.
as the bard did before. But the bard also has bard songs and Song of Rest and magical secrets and things to make a bard. It didn't nerf his spellcasting capabilities. Because honestly, the bard spells were kind of garbage anyway.
So,
and I'll touch on the how magic works at the end of it. And
so instead of paths here, you have colleges.
Colleges,
which is kind of
bardic college, you're right. And the cleric. The cleric still has domains. Those are
how they made turn undead.
It's right. I didn't actually look at turn undead, to be honest with you. So
I'm assuming it's
there's destroy undead.
Okay, starting level 5.
Right.
Okay.
Nature domains and druid circles, which is kind of cool. So I'd be like, I want to be a druid of the desert. Oh, you actually can be, and this is the spells that you get for being a druid of the desert. I want to be a druid of the swamps. These are the spells that you get for, in addition to the normal, what spells you can normally pick as a druid, you automatically get these because you're a druid of the swamp. A fighter.
Oh, they have a lot of areas.
Right, yeah, they've got a bunch of...
Underdark, swamp, mountain, grassland, forest, desert, coast, and Arctic.
Yeah, Underdark. That's kind of cool, too. I like that. The fighter... What made a fighter good in 3.5 was the amount of feats that they got. Feats are different. So... you know how in 3.5 you could... You got your ability score raised at 4th level, every 4 levels, 4, 8, 12. You still have that. You still have ability score increases at 4, 8, 12. Yeah. Or, excuse me, 4, 6
8.
So, instead of taking an ability score improvement, you have the option to take a feat. Not just fighters, just anybody in general.
Okay.
And, of course, you have to meet the prerequisites. And there's not many feats. And you might think, oh, well, why would I take a feat over an ability score improvement? They actually cap you in ability score improvements.
Oh.
They actually say you can only have, if you're a fighter, you can only have a strength of 20 by the time that you reach 10th level. Or you can only have an ability of 20 by this level. You can't go any higher.
Okay.
So, 1, it balances characters, which is nice. 2, it forces you to do something else rather than munchkining your way.
Yeah.
And
that's good.
And fighters are good. They do have a good bit more ability score improvements. So
they have fighting styles.
And fighting styles. You can be an archer. You can be a champion, battle master,
two-handed weapon,
eldritch knight.
And you got martial archetypes.
Right.
So the big difference between the barbarian and the warrior is well all around, while the barbarian is beats your face.
Right. Well, it makes the barbarian feel more like a barbarian.
Yeah.
They've got the monk, which the monk still has monk things. Monks, they have this thing called key now, which is a throwback from key points, exactly. Yeah. Spend a key point, and you can shadow step or spend a key point, and you can, flurry of blows right here. Immediately after you take an attack action, you can spend a key point to make 2 more attacks.
And you get key points.
Yeah, right.
Back.
Well, when you take an extended rest.
Extended rest, okay.
So, yeah, the monk is, because if you think about it, the monk in 3.5 was so overpowered.
Oh,
they had such good saves, and they could do anything they wanted, and it kind of nerfed the monk a bit. And they still have monastic traditions, so every class has paths.
Yep, and they don't call it paths, but they'll be different.
Right.
Way of the 4 elements.
And the paladin, the paladin has, the paladin is, sure enough, what did I tell you? Look at that. Look at how soon paladins get spells.
Level 2.
Level 2. They didn't get spells until like 5.
Yep.
So it actually, and the spells that they got, well, the spells they still get, are, blessed weapon and protection stuff. But by the time that you're level 5, you don't care about magic weapon.
No.
You already have one.
If your GM is nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And rangers still have favored enemies.
Okay.
And all of their...
One question,
sure.
Kind of midway through already. I'm noticing that you don't have prerequisites and stat-wise to do the classes. Okay.
Nope.
So if you have dexterity of 10, you want to be a ranger, go ahead. You won't be a good one, but yeah.
But yeah, all of the ranger stuff, all of their special features most of it's geared towards their favorite enemies. So
they get firing styles, archetypes also.
Yeah. The rogues. I mean, they still do the same thing. The big thing with rogue.
The whole thing of backstab. Yep, that's the number one people was going to ask.
Backstab. A rogue can apply a sneak attack damage when you have advantage on the target.
What's considered advantage?
Advantage is earned a number of different ways. They can be prone. You can earn some of their special things.
We'll
make them have advantage. And advantage is when it's a game term. You roll 2d20 and you choose the highest.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So it eliminates the weird curve that the D20 has.
Right.
You know.
And then there's what's called disadvantage. Is you roll 2d20 and you choose the lowest.
Ooh. And that's for each attack?
It's for each attack.
So if I'm a monster with 5 attacks,
and you have advantage on the target,
2 at a time.
Well,
and
that's going to hurt. Now, the big difference, or another big thing with advantage and disadvantage while I'm talking about it, say you have advantage on the target, and you also have disadvantage on the target. They cancel each other out, and you attack as normal.
Okay.
Say you have advantage on the target from 5 different sources. You know, you're flanking him, he's prone, he's wearing the color blue, whatever.
Yeah.
And you have disadvantage from 1 source. Doesn't matter. You have advantage and you have disadvantage. They cancel each other out.
Okay. So it's either you have it or you don't. It's not how many times you have it. It's
Right.
just...
You have it or you don't.
Cool.
So yeah, the rogue technically can be... The fighter could be, facing the enemy. And the rogue could come up standing right next to the fighter. Not be flanking, not be anything. And you've got advantage on the target. Sneak attack.
So... with the rogue's abilities of making that character be in a disadvantage, no longer just helps the party of the rogue's damage output, is helping the fighter, the whole group hit the target.
Yes.
Does that also apply for like spells and stuff?
Yes,
Oh,
it
wow.
does. Advantage and disadvantage is on every attack roll.
That's very good.
So if the wizard wants to do like a Ray of Frost, if you have advantage, you can roll 2d20.
And for the fanatical rogue players out there, yes, you could become an assassin.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, And they brought back a bunch of stuff like thieves can't. I mean, it's good. All of the old things. Oh, something I quick mention at the beginning of every race. Yeah, I know. Flipping back to the races. There's an excerpt from an author. Like if you check out, was it the Dwarves? We'll go back to the Dwarves. Because I think everybody knows that guy's name.
Yep, Salvatore.
There's an excerpt from R.A. Salvatore's book, The Crystal Shard, talking about dwarves. The Elves. There's an excerpt from Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman's
And
Dragons
the novel where it comes from.
And the novel where it comes. They gotta give
I
credit
know.
where credit's due. But
That's very cool.
I know. Yeah.
So if you play a halfling and you're like, oh, I really like halflings, and you want to just get
Get a little flavor for it.
exactly, you could read the description, find the author's book and read about it, and more likely they'll have a halflings in that novel, and it gives you an idea how they're playing and all that stuff, and just nice fluff.
Yeah. All right, so back to the classes. The Sorcerer. The Sorcerer has something that they don't actually get at level 3 like everybody else does. They have what's called Sorcerer's Origins. Sorcerers were innate casters of magic, and they have draconic bloodline. They have the wild magic bloodline. So they actually get their path at level 1.
Oh, wow.
Right. But yeah, if you notice again, they've got 2 first level spells, just like the wizard does, just like the cleric does, and it levels as a wizard for spells.
Yep.
But they get meta magic that they can apply to spells they cast. And they have this thing called sorcerer points that they could trade sorcerer points for more spells or trade spell slots for more points. It's this... I like it. I really do. The Sorcerer's Origins give them a good flavor for to be what it means to be a draconic bloodline. You get a breath weapon.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you get a breath weapon. So you're probably going to see a lot of Dragonborn draconic sorcerers.
Yep.
And then the quintessential wild magic surge table.
Oh, I love wild magic mages.
It's
sorcerers now.
It's not like the 3/5 Rod of Wonder, which was kind of
cool.
Well, I mean, it was cool, but there was only like 6 things on it. This one, there's 50. There's 50 things that could
happen.
That could randomly happen.
That's cool.
And the Warlock. The Warlock, like I said, it's kind of a half caster, half fighter. The 3/5 Warlock, if you don't know, it had this thing. It was an Eldritch Blast. That's what made the Warlock a Warlock. I mean, yeah, okay, you had invocations. Yeah, there were spells, but no one cared about that. You were in armor. You had an okay base attack bonus, and you had Eldritch Blast. This one, the invocations, they kept sort of the same feel. The invocations are, if you flip a couple pages to 110, like see here, right here Dreadful Word. You can cast Confusion once using a Warlock spell slot. You can cast Detect Magic at will for Eldritch Sight. You can cast Disguise Self at will. You can cast Alter Self at will. The invocations are innate spells that the Warlock gets because he's made this pact with an otherworldly whatever, yeah. And yeah, and sure they don't know as many spells, but the invocations plus the couple spells that they pick plus the Mystic Arcanum and otherworldly patron feature, which is over here of the Archfey and the Fiend and the Great Old One like Cthulhu, gives the Warlock an actual feel of just being a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
And the Wizard. He's their paths are the 8 schools of
Wizard.
The 8 schools of magic.
Oh, nice.
You're right. So at level 3,
That's back old school.
Yeah, you have to pick, but it doesn't limit you. Like, remember how you pick Conjuration and you had to lose two other schools?
Yeah.
Nope. It just gives you a buff for casting Conjuration spells.
That's good. I used to hate that.
I know. I don't want that. Yeah. Background.
Personality and background, Chapter 4.
I really like this. This is, I mean, yeah, okay, there's some fluff of exotic languages and sampled dwarvish script and height, and the alignments are back to the 9 alignments rather than the 4 in 4th edition. The lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good. Yeah, they're back to the 9.
Languages.
The backgrounds I like.
Inspirations.
You choose something called personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. You can choose a role.
Oh.
So let's say that that you want to be an acolyte, the first one, right? So you pick the acolyte. Here are some sample personality traits. Here are some sample ideals, bonds, and flaws that you could choose, make up your own, or roll. Now, you would think that this would be sole flavor purposes because the flaw. Let's see. I put too much trust in those who wield power within my temple's hierarchy. Or I'm inflexible in my thinking. All right, so it sounds like fluff.
Fluff, yeah.
Acolyte. Feature, shelter of the faithful. As an acolyte, you command the respect of those who share your faith, and you perform the religious ceremonies of your deity. You and your adventuring companions can expect to receive free healing and care at your god's temple. Now, yes, it's kind of fluff, but you picked acolyte.
Yeah, so that could come in the right time.
That could come in handy.
I need a resurrection. I don't have the money for it.
And then you're right. I mean, some of these ones, the criminal feature, criminal contact. You have a reliable and trustworthy contact whose offense. Rather than, it's flavor, but it's good flavor.
Yes. You could take advantage of them if you play it right.
If you play it right, you can really work this. And I mean, they've got all kinds of backgrounds in here: entertainer, folk hero, guild artisan.
I really, really, really like this.
Hermit, noble, and not only does it give that little feature of like the position of privilege for being a noble, of thanks to your noble birth, you're welcome in high society, and people assume you have the right to be wherever you are. Not only does it give you that, it also gets you a set of fine clothes, a signet ring, a scroll of pedigree, and a purse with 25 gold.
On top of
everything else normal that you normally get. You get a skill proficiencies of history and persuasion. No matter what else, for free. Boom, there you are. You get a one type of gaming set for tool proficiencies.
Wow.
Yeah, tools have their own proficiency too, like thieves' tools, which rogues get for free. That if you're using thieves' tools, you get advantage on the roll. Or excuse me. No, I believe rogues get advantage and proficiency with thieves' tools. But at any rate, you get tool proficiencies of dice. So you're a noble. You know how to dice. You know how to play cards. Languages, one of your choice. You get a bonus language just because you picked that background.
Oh, wow. That's...
Yeah.
And it's every single one of them gives you equipment.
Every single one of them gives you stuff. Soldier, urchin. Yeah. And then it gets to equipment. Yeah, you're going to have to flip.
Yep.
Stop looking at stuff.
I want to read them already.
They brought back the random equipment. They took away the blanket 100 or 150 gold or whatever it was for 4th edition. And now you roll again like back in 3.5. You're a fighter. Let's see, you get 5d4 times 10. You're a monk? Well, you get 5d4. So, hopefully you roll well.
Yep.
The weapons, some of the weapons have, weapons have properties, surprise. One of the properties that I really like is finesse. When making an attack with a finesse weapon, you use your choice of your strength or dex modifier to the attack and damage rolls.
Ooh.
So no longer does the rogue with a dagger suck.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, I'm going to attack with my dagger. I'm using my strength rather than my high dex.
Yep.
But other than that, the weapons look, I'd have to look at put the two books next to each other. But other than that, the weapons,
trinkets.
Oh, the adventuring gear. They brought back the 3.5 giant block. Oh, 150.
150. Okay.
The giant block of adventuring gear.
Yep.
Of all kinds of random stuff. But they took a note from 4th. Check it out over here.
Yep. Little packages.
Equipment packages. I want to be an explorer. So here's my pack. Here's the price. Here's what I get in the pack.
Yep. Something easy.
Something easy to just, and then you could mix and match and be like, oh, I really want a pole for like a reason. Oh, you're flipping too fast. Exciting. See, this is some of the container capacity. So, how much does a backpack weigh? Okay, well, it weighs 2 pounds. Everybody knows that by now. How much does the backpack hold? 1 cubic foot or 30 pounds of gear.
Yep.
Never have they had that.
Interesting.
Tools, mounts and vehicles, trade goods.
Hmm.
Like, oh, I
And
found
cost.
I found a pound of salt. I don't have any idea what I'm going to do with that except just turn it over to the authority and be like, oh, here's a pound of salt. Now I can sell it for 5 copper.
Interesting. Stuff that you can always, the gym can make up, but it's nice to have it here.
I like this page. Trinkets. Everyone gets a trinket. You can pick or roll. I like the roll because... So you have a trinket. It does nothing. It's a tiny silver bell without a clapper. It's a bit of folded cloth that, when unfolded, turns into a stylish cap. How'd you get it? There could be a whole adventure around that.
No.
About why you have an ornate scabbard that fits no blade you have found so far.
It's, you're in the
It could
inn.
be a
You're in the
whole-
inn. The party's in the inn one day. Everybody goes in to the drink. They go drunk. Wake up the next day, and your friend is not there, but you see his trinket, which only one person has, or he's disappeared, and that trinket can lead clues and
or just that the ornate scabbard that fits no blade you have found so far. Well, that would, if I was a fighter, I would
Try to
wonder.
figure
I'd
out.
find out what sword fits in that scabbard. There could be a whole adventure written around that.
Yeah.
And then multi-classing.
Oh, the multi-class.
Right.
Good or bad?
I've never been a fan of multi-classing. I really haven't. But it looks...
You do have requisites.
It looks, multi-classing proficiencies, what you become proficient in when you multi-class into Paladin. Spell slots, pacts, extra attack. So, the multi-classing is that. You saw it. There
That's
it went.
it?
There, no, you already went too far.
Oh, wow.
Up,
Oh, then this starts
2 pages.
Huh. I guess it's very simple.
There's probably going to be a lot more later. But
Okay.
And then there's the feats. Remember how I said that the ability scores, you could either choose ability score boost or you could choose a feat. Here's the feats. Of course, more to be forthcoming.
More to come.
More to come.
But
they've good number of feats.
Part 2.
Playing the game. The rules. They
Okay.
have normal stuff. The ability score modifiers is the 18 and 19 is a 4, the 16 and 17 is a 3. And what I said, the advantage and disadvantage, I covered that before, the proficiency bonus. Ability checks, skills, here's their related attribute for particular skills, which the skills, thankfully, they've expanded. It's not as much like in 3.5, but it's not as little as in 4th.
Okay.
They've condensed a
middle
couple
ground.
of them. Yeah, it's a middle ground. Another. Some of this art is just awesome. I love this picture.
No, some of these art is amazing.
But some of the things that I'd like to touch on in the combat itself. Wow, that right. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Attacks of opportunity. Attacks of opportunity is only when you leave the reach of an enemy. Not when you leave a threatened square.
Okay.
So apparently you could run circles around an enemy all day long.
If they have the threaten, the reach around them.
Right, or even just the square directly around them. You could just make circles. You're not leaving their reach. But like I said, that's the only time. The archer, when you shoot a bow next to an enemy, does not provoke. And you get disadvantage on the roll with extenuating circumstances.
Same thing with casting.
Same thing. If you're shooting at the guy, I think how it words it is if you make a ranged attack roll against the person who's adjacent to you, then you have disadvantage on the roll. Because some of the spells, because I cheated and I looked ahead. Some of the spells are, remember, did you play 4th edition at all, like with Thunderwave? Remember
No.
Thunderwave? Thunderwave was a wizard spell that you could cast when something was adjacent to you.
Okay.
And it would hit the target for her damage, and then it would push the target away. It was a close burst.
Just so you could.
Right, so you could push things away, so you could cast it,
Yeah.
and it would. They have it here, Thunder Wave. So.
That
So
way,
you can cast adjacent to people.
Yeah.
It's just you get disadvantage. Adventuring, environment, interacting with objects, which I liked that they mentioned this bit in here, that you can interact with one object during your turn.
True, was very good because as a
Like
DM,
drinking a potion.
That's
It's technically still a standard action.
okay.
I know, yeah, I got excited and I was like, oh, you can drink a potion and swing a sword? Yes. No. Because it's activating a magic item.
Okay.
Fine. Something else that I like that they did, if you're wielding two weapons, you don't have to have some weird feat because the feats are not really. So you get to swing with your main weapon and then you swing with your offhand weapon and you don't get to add your proficiency.
That's it.
With the offhand, that's it.
Oh wow. Very simple.
During your movement, let's say you have 30 feet of movement. You move 10 feet, you swing with the weapon. You still have 20 feet of movement left. The guy died. Well, as the fighter, you're out of luck. Now, you can move 20 more feet
And swing with your offhand.
and swing with the other weapon.
Very cool. More
The
realistic.
fighter also gets some of the classes as during their little level ups and their class features, they get an action point. Now, it's not called an action point, but those who have played 4th edition know what an action point is.
Yeah.
The fighter gets an action point that he can use on whatever. So during the turn sequence, you have one standard action, you have one move action, and you have one swift action. Now, the move action is, of course, going up to your full movement,
Okay.
if you want to. And you can split it up, like I said, you can move, swing, and move. So remember that feat of you would jump in combat, and then you would hit something, then you would jump out.
Yeah. I
what
forgot
it's
the name
called.
of it too.
Everyone has that now. Everyone can move, swing, and move.
Move.
So the fighter at 2nd level gets this action point. Now think about a dual-wielding fighter. He moves up, he swings with a weapon. He swings with his offhand weapon. He spends his action point. He does it again. 4 attacks.
Wow.
4 attacks in 1 round.
That's pretty good.
Then you have resting. Oh, death and dying. Real quick. You have death saving throws again.
Okay.
You fall to 0 and you have to make a death saving throw. So you have to roll over 10. If you fail 3 times, you die.
In a row or
No,
every
just
turn?
every turn.
Okay.
In 4th edition, that was bad because if no one can get to you, you're going to fail 3.
Okay.
It was just no modifiers to it. It was just a 10 plus, or excuse me, an 11 plus on a d20. You're gonna fail 3. So if no one can get to you, you're pretty much slated to die. In 5th, if you pass 3, you stabilize, and you don't have to make any more death saving throws.
So you keep rolling until you either fail 3 or make 3.
Yeah. And if you roll a 1, it counts as 2 failures.
Oh, if you roll a 20
You stabilize and have 1 hit point.
without making the other one.
Well, no, and you have 1 hit point. You're conscious. You can stand back up and keep fighting.
Wow.
Which standing back up is half your movement.
Okay.
So if you have a movement of 30 feet, in order to stand from being prone, costs you 15 feet of movement. And then you can continue on your merry way.
Very nice. I'm curious if clerics are going to get a spell or a skill that you get an advantage when making those death saves.
Right?
That would have been kind of roll 2 dice.
I do like the clerics. with their spells, because people are like, oh, we don't need a cleric, we have potions of healing. The potions of healing only do like 2d4, or not even 2d4. I think it's like a d4 plus 2 or something like that. They heal, but they don't heal for much.
Okay.
The cleric heals for much more. So
Nice.
having a cleric is good. Oh yeah, see, all this stuff: hit points, damage types, healing, cover.
Rules of magic.
This is a big change.
Okay.
I didn't mention it much. You have what's called spell slots for all casters. Sorcerers, wizards, clerics, all of them. So now we're going to flip back. Think of the wizard. The wizard sits down and memorizes a couple spells. This is 3-5. He memorizes Magic Missile, Grease, and Mage Armor. Right? He casts Magic Missile. Now he can't cast that again until he sits down and rests and memorizes it again.
Mm-hmm.
Now the wizard has what's called spell slots.
Okay.
Well, as with everybody else. The wizard sits down now and memorizes the same thing based on his intelligence modifier. He memorizes Mage Armor, Grease, and Magic Missile. I'm at 113.
113. Keep going. There you go.
He has spell slots per spell level. 2 at first level.
Okay.
All right, so he memorizes those 3 spells: Grease, Mage Armor, Magic Missile. He casts Magic Missile. All right, as per, normal casting, there it is, Magic Missile does blah, blah, blah damage. It's not gone from his memory. He can cast it again if he wants to. He can cast it as many times as he wants to, as long as he still has slots available.
So you're not memorizing a spell. You just could cast from that level that many spells.
From that clump. You're actually not even memorizing the spell from the level. You're just memorizing the spell.
So you still have to pick the spells you memorize?
Yes, for the wizard still has more spells known, and he has to choose which ones he wants for that day.
Okay. But you could cast any of those that many times?
Yes.
Okay. So now I need to memorize Magic Missile 3 times, Sleep once.
He's memorized Magic Missile. If the situation calls for it, he can cast it twice at first level.
Wow.
And remember what I said about he memorizes the spell, not at the spell level. So at fifth level, he's got access to 3rd level spells. 2 of them, which is different. It used to be 1. But he has access to third level spells. Fireball. Now, Fireball might not be good at this particular moment. It's the big boss monster.
Everybody's around him.
Everyone's around him. And Fireball is good for many little things.
Yes.
So, what's the wizard do? But he takes his Magic Missile and he puts it in a 3rd level slot.
He's boosting.
He's
powering
boosting.
up.
He's powering it up. Magic Missile.
Wow, interesting. Good.
Because when do you ever use 1st level spells once you get to...
I know.
Never. But Magic Missile. At higher levels, when you cast this spell using a spell slot of 2nd level or higher, the spell creates 1 more dart for each slot above 1st. Now, some people poo-pooed it and they're like, oh, that's stupid, blah, blah, blah. And then I showed them Cure. Cure Wounds.
Oh, it applies the same way.
It applies the same way.
So
It's
instead,
exactly the same way.
Wow.
Cure Light, Cure Moderate, Cure Serious.
If you
It's 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And it's 1d8, 2d8, 3d8.
wow,
It's
pretty
exactly
good.
the same. That is going to turn some people away, I think, because it's so radically different. Because you think, oh, well, then why would I play a wizard over a sorcerer? Because I played the sorcerer for the versatility. Now I have the versatility in the wizard, so never pick the sorcerer again.
No.
But the sorcerer, the spell progression is the same as the wizard. So, because the sorcerer got spells slower than the wizard did.
Before.
Now it's the same, and now the sorcerer also gets those bloodlines, which
So why would you want
boost
to
it.
play?
Why would you want to be a wizard? Because say you want to cast one type of spell,
The specialization of the schools.
specialization of the schools. I want to be a necromancer. I want to be everything about a necromancer that there is. The specializations, they get more specialization.
Yep.
And the sorcerer also gets meta magic.
Okay. So
I think
it's a minor changes, but like, again, it boils down to
what
you
want
wanna
to
play.
Yeah, what do you want to do? That is, like I said, the three big things is the magic, the advantage and disadvantage, and the proficiency. And then the spells. The spells are all. I mean, there's some changes of. I'm not going to go through all the spells because it's spells. I'm sure that some people will be like, "Oh, fireball, fireball." Now, like I said, fireball did 1d6 per caster level. Now, because everything doesn't really have a caster level, fireball does a blanket 8d6 damage. You know, if you make your save, you take half. Higher levels, you get to increase the damage by a d6 for each spell slot. But because it doesn't have, you're like, oh, I'm going to cast a fireball. I'm a 5th level caster. It does 5. I'm a 6th level caster. It does 6. Because there's no more caster levels, per se. So they had to make a standard damage.
Yeah. And then
Flipping past the spells.
I like the little.
Flip,
It's in the appendix.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, they have a appendix A conditions, and have a little picture for each type of condition.
Oh yeah, for each type. Like this is how you look when you're charmed. This is how you look when you're deafened. This is how I love
The unconscious.
He's not unconscious. That dude's dead.
I think so too.
That dude's dead.
Oh.
But it tells you what what the unconscious. You
condition.
automatically fail strength and dex, and what the conditions. Straight up, there it is. You don't have to go flipping.
You got gods.
Gods. Check out the gods. Deities of the Forgotten Realms. Now, at first, I said that they didn't even really acknowledge that 4th edition was a thing. Because they brought back Mystra, because Mystra died in the spell plague. And blah,
Spoilers.
blah, blah. Spoilers. Mystra died. Again. And then you mentioned, it could be that, that they put in Mystra, so you can find out, this is Mystra, and then she died during the spell plague. They brought in a big one for 4th edition.
Which one was it?
The God of Death.
Oh yeah, the
Raven Queen.
Yeah.
It wasn't Forgotten Realms, but the Raven Queen. The Raven Queen was this big, it's a new god, the Raven Queen, the Raven Queen. Technically, the Raven Queen was Greyhawk because she overthrew Nerul. You see Raven Queen anywhere in that list?
Nope.
Nope. I sure see Nerul. Nerul was completely out of the Pantheon for Greyhawk in 4th edition, and Raven Queen was in. Now she is completely out. It's like they didn't even acknowledge that 4th edition was a thing.
So I guess they're considering,
Yeah.
let's just take this out of the
Some things
history books.
Some things that I haven't seen since 2nd, though. Dragonlance. Deities of Dragonlance.
And I'm glad they're acknowledging that.
Right? I saw this, too. Flip back here real quick to Dragonborn. Which, yeah, I know. Doing a lot of flipping. Of course, they put in a picture of Dritz. Where are you? What is this? Halfling?
I think they're alphabetized, isn't it?
I know, right? Where am I? Oh, it is probably alphabetized. No, Dragonborn is
Oh, in the back.
half-orc. It's in here somewhere. I will find it. Oh, here we go. Dragonborn. Dragonborn. They're the ones that don't have a or tiefling might not either, but of the subraces.
Oh, they don't.
But they do have draconic ancestry. So
what color are they
so
from?
you pick what color you're from. This is your dragon breath and subject. Draconians.
Oh, there you go.
A little footnote for Dragonlance.
Pretty good.
I know. They brought in old stuff. So that's why. So deities of Dragonlance, deities of Eberron, non-human deities, like the Kuatoa of Blip Dual Poolp, and then non-fantasy settings. Celtic, Greek, Egyptian, Norse. They brought in pantheons from actual...
the planes.
The planes. They brought back...
Plane travel.
All of the planes that everybody missed. Mechanus, Arcadia, Elysium, that they took out for 4th, and they brought them all back.
And they have a...
The positive plane, the negative plane. Yeah, they have them all. And then they have a little bit of creatures back here.
Yeah, until the Mouse of Manure comes out.
Right. Now, something else I'm gonna do real quick before we close it up, just to prove a point. Oh, it's not in here. It's in the Dragon one. Anyway, remember how I said they're keeping the numbers low?
Okay.
There's no base attack bonus.
Mm-hmm.
All that you're getting is your proficiency and your appropriate ability score.
Okay.
So all of the numbers are going to be low, even with dragons, because surprise, it has a dragon. A dragon only has like a +6 to hit.
So, do you still are feeling heroic like in 4th edition, or
You do, but on a
different scale?
grittier level.
Okay.
By gritty, I mean it's more real. In 4th edition, you would get to a point, and you're fighting something that's lower level than you. And kill it and you walk on. You look at it and it dies because it doesn't have the attack bonus to get past your AC. You can tap the D20 and hit it no problem. And for 5th, because the numbers are low, every monster is a challenge.
That's good. I hate that when most D&D.
You walk into a room and there's 30 goblins there.
Like, okay, whatever.
Kill the goblins.
But I always liked Lord of the Rings used to have one that was very, very deadly. That a level 1, your level 15 can roll. It has to be hard rolls, but they could have a chance of killing you.
Yeah.
You respected everything.
You respect everything because your armor class doesn't go up.
Yeah. Plus, when they bring the scale down like this, they also give room to grow. You know what I'm saying? If I'm already hitting by level 10, needing 3+ to hit, what's there to grow?
Why do I need that new magic item? Why do I need to do this quest? I'll just take over this country and.
So all around,
I like it. I think it's going to bring back. I think the nostalgia of bringing back some of the old 2nd edition stuff. I think that's going to bring some people back to it and away from some other, big hitters right now. I think that the spells is just so dramatically different. It's going to take a little bit of time for people to stomach that. I think it took the best of both worlds from 3, 5, and 4.
Oh, one thing I was going to ask you. Do they still have the healing surges, or they took that out?
Sort of.
Sort of? Okay.
They have what's called hit dice. As you may recall, if you were a 2nd level fighter, you have rolled your D10 twice, so you're a 2-hit die creature.
Okay.
Now, you're still that for the purposes of like hypnotism or whatever. But now, say you're a 5th level fighter. You have 5d10. After this particular battle, you can choose 2, or let's go with 4. You choose 4 of your hit dice. All right, you're 5th level, and you choose 4 hit dice. You roll 4d10, and you get back that many hit points. Now, you take an extended rest. You don't get all those back. you get half.
Okay.
You get half of your level rounded down. So you would get 2 back. So you're 5 level. You've spent 4, so you're down to 1, and you get half your level back. So you get 2 back. So for the next day, you only have 3 D10 to work with for healing. Now, thankfully, the cleric doesn't burn them like they did in 4th, but it was free healing.
Yeah.
So it's good. I like it. I think that it'll, with game, I'll have to test it and balance it out.
So, your pros?
Like I said, the best of both worlds. I liked the action points from 4th, and they have that in there. I liked the extra healing, so your cleric wasn't just walking around with a Cure Light Wound wand at low levels going, my job sucks. My job sucks. So, yeah.
And cons?
I would say, I really haven't seen any, but I would say the magic. That's
Just because it's different.
Just because it's different.
Okay.
And we're role players, we don't like different.
I'll put a con. The price is kind of little.
It is a little pricey, but it is the world's greatest role-playing game.
It's just for a while there they spoiled us with $35 player handbooks. So this time you pay an extra $15 and I think it's around the same size. I don't think it's the same, but the quality still is good. So okay, guys. These are the products right now they have. This is the player handbook, the starter set.
This is a steal, by the way.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
If you want to try it out but don't want to invest the $50, this is a $20 option.
$20. It gets you basic rules, a set of dice.
Just the dice would be like $7-8,
right?
So
an adventure that takes you from 1 to 5, and 5 pre-generated characters.
that's just very
awesome.
Good. And then that's their first adventure. It's from 1 through 7. So it's a way if you want to start, playing right off the bat. You can even play this and then jump into that. And then I think the release schedule is Monster Manual will be next, which is very odd. I would assume the DMs would have been next.
From what I heard, I think the DM is just world building and tips.
Okay. Because this gives you pretty, good enough.
Maybe some traps, because I didn't see any traps.
No, it's true. And then the GM's supposed to be 2 months from now. So, if you like this video, like it. If you have any comments or questions, just post in the comments. And thanks for joining.
Thanks.
See you guys.